Hi guys, welcome to our second video lesson. This is also the second lesson in directed number. Now if you missed the first lesson, I would advise that you get this first lesson and watch it so that you understand where we're coming from. Now in our last lesson we looked at how we can add and subtract directed numbers without using the number line. Let us do a recap on that. Alright, example. Evaluate 18 minus 27, 13 minus 12, and minus 3 minus 4 plus 10. Number 1 is a case of subtracting a large number from a smaller number. As you can see, 27 is bigger than 18. Therefore, we can simply find the difference between 27 and 18. We learned that from our last class. And the difference between 27 and 18 will be 9. Hence, 18 minus 27, since we're subtracting a large number from a small number, the result is going to be negative. So we're going to have a negative 9. Alright, we learned all of that from our last class. But I want us to take note of this. In general, when subtracting a large number from a smaller number, the result is always the negative difference between them. Now, other examples that we can look at are when we have 43 minus 51, it's going to give us a negative 12 because the difference between 43 and 51 is 12. So the negative difference is minus 12. Also, 81 minus 107 would give us minus 26 because 26 is the difference between 107 and 81. Hence, it's going to be a negative 26. I would ask you to find out what is 29 minus 53. Find that out quickly and pen down your answer. So let's move on. Now, number 2 is a case of subtracting from a negative number. We also learned that from our last lesson that since both numbers are carrying a negative sign, the result therefore must also be negative. So if we have a minus 13 minus 12, the result is first of all going to carry a negative sign. Then we can simply sum the two numbers together. 12 plus 13, that will give us 25. We're going to have a negative 25, a minus 25. Alright, we learned that all of that from our last lesson. But I want us to quickly take note again of another general case. In general, when subtracting from a negative number, the result is the negative sum of the two numbers. Alright, please take note. When subtracting from a negative number, the result is the negative sum of the two numbers. For instance, if we have minus 5 minus 8, both of them are carrying a negative sign, so our result is going to carry a negative sign. Then when we sum 5 and 8 together, we get a 13. So our result is going to be minus 13. Also, if we have a minus 47 minus 75, both of them are carrying a negative sign, so our result also will carry a negative sign. Then when we sum 47 plus 75, it will give us 122. So our result is going to be a minus 122. Then if we have minus 11 minus 19, I'll leave that to you to find out what the answer is. And pen that down quickly. Then we move to number 3. Now in number 3, we have 3 numbers. So we'll deal first with the first two numbers, then use the result from the first two numbers to deal with the third part of that expression. So the first two numbers we have are minus 3 minus 4. Now this is similar to the case we just discussed. It means that minus 3 minus 4, we have two negative signs. So what happens? The result is going to be negative, and then it's going to be the negative sum of both numbers. 3 plus 4 is 7, so we're going to have a minus 7. Now using this result of minus 7, we add 10. So we're going to have minus 7 plus 10. So 10 is a positive number, minus 7 is a negative number. Now we learned from last term that if we have terms with a negative and positive sign, we can arrange them according to signs, bringing the positive before the negative. So if we rearrange these two numbers, we're going to have plus 10 comes before minus 7. So we'll have something like plus 10 minus 7. 10 minus 7, the answer is obvious, is 3. Alright. Now that was just a quick recap of what we did in our last lesson. Now I want you to go ahead and practice this exercise and let me have your feedback as soon as you are done with the exercise. It's including the first two. I asked you to pause and take them down. That'll be 5 questions. Alright, now in this last part of the lesson, we're going to consider a case where we have multiple signs that are separated by brackets. And from what we already know in board maths, brackets simply means multiplication. Now a few things for us to note with respect to multiplication of directed numbers. Now when we have a case of plus times plus, these are two positive signs multiplying each other, it will give us plus, another positive sign. Now when we have plus times minus, which is a positive sign multiplying a negative sign, it gives us a negative sign. And when we have minus times plus, which is a negative sign multiplying a positive sign, it gives us a negative sign. Then also when we have minus times minus, it gives us a positive sign. Alright, so in our next class we're going to see how these signs apply to directed numbers.